the ideal draft that I would like to see from Unicorns of Love is something with high pressure in mid lane, and maybe like Renekton Italy in the top side of the map.
Hi everyone, it's Tom reporting from the MSI ramp up as I'm doing the interviews with experts from every region to introduce us to all the teams that are going to be playing in Iceland. And with me here is ShortyGeorge, the expert who's going to tell us everything about the LCL and its representative Unicorns of Love. It's a team many of you will know for their repeated appearances at the international stage and also with the history in European League of Legends. First of all, ShortyGeorge, thank you so much for joining me. Can you give people maybe a quick rundown of who you are and what you do and your connections to the LCL?
Sure. I started as a coach in LCL a couple of years ago. Was semi-successful, let's say. Got to finals several times. Never won, but I mean, I was decent. Okay, I was decent. And then I was offered the job as a caster, first as an analyst, and now I work as as one of the main. As one of the main casters, both as a PvP and color caster, depending on the pairings, let's say. And I've been involved with LCL since 2017. So it's now like 4 years I've been involved with this league.
Yeah, quite some time.
Yeah, quite some time.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking about Unicorns of Love, and obviously it's a team that many people will know. We saw them perform at Worlds as well, where they made it to the group stage. Unfortunately, there it didn't go as well for them, but heading into the spring split, what were the biggest changes for Unicorns of Love?
So, first of all, I want to talk about the World's performance a bit because people seem to put it way more down than it was actually. Because, well, let's face it, winning against TES or DRX was pretty much impossible. The 0-4 component was pretty much known for everyone except for like diehard fans. The bad performance actually comes from the games with FlyQuest. There, I think it was possible to perform better, but something went wrong inside the team. I don't know what exactly. I had some rumors here and there, but I don't think it's legitimate information.
Yeah.
So coming to the spring split, there was one drastic change. Gadget, the ADC for Unicorns of Love, has left the team. He went and joined Mouse Sports, the team from the German league, the Prime League, and he's now performing in the European Masters. And so there was a new guy coming in. It was actually a French ADC, Frappy. Or with a French accent, Frappy. And sorry, I had to do that. And there were many questions about him joining the Russian team, because before that, the team consisted entirely out of Russian players, so the communication was in Russian. And now there was a foreigner who didn't speak Russian. And actually, the dynamic of Unicorns of Love with Frappy was, I don't want to say bad, but it was like downgrading, you know? They started the split with a bit of a shaky performance. And even though they were first, second place, it wasn't evolving into something. Like the problems with the communication wasn't going anywhere. And it actually became even worse towards the end of the split. And this was the first time for Unicorns of Love when they actually... they took 4th place in LCL. So the top 4 teams go into playoffs and they got the 4th place. And before the playoffs, everybody was saying that probably their time has come, right? They're not going to make it. And especially they were facing Gambit, a team that had a very, very impressive performance in the regular split. But Unicorns of Love, they won against Gambit 3-1, and then they were facing Crowd, the other team from the top 4, and the finals also went 3-1. And actually, in the finals, we finally got to see the Unicorns of Love in, somewhere next to their true form, where they're confident, they know what they're doing on the map, and they still have the tendency to play more of a scaling strategies with like Victor in the mid lane and blah blah blah, but it works for them. They usually have a very steady early game. They don't lose much, and when the mid game comes, when the power spikes are there, they just roll over their opponents. The finals were good in a way where Crowd actually showed up and they challenged the Unicorns a bit, but I don't think there were people who were doubting that Unicorns of Love are going to win. And a very important factor also is the fact that the substitute, the ADC from Russia, Lorik, who some people may remember as he was playing for Gambit, and he was on one of the international events with that team. I think it was MSI, but I may be wrong. And Lorik came to substitute Frappy, so the communication went back to entirely on in Russian, and I think it helped quite a bit. Even though his first two performances were, I don't want to say bad, but I mean, the they were shaky. Let's say they were shaky, right? And so, but I feel like in terms of strategies, the coaching stuff of Unicorns of Love covered it very well. They were playing very, very calmly, and they were like scaling a lot. So Lodik had to play like Senna, Seraphine, the ADCs where you don't need to like make plays to be relevant, right? So you just farm up and you provide a lot of utility for your team. And after that they moved to more traditional ADCs. But yeah, I think they fixed the problem, and I think that Lodik actually gained a lot of confidence and let's say like skill. He actually became a part of the team, like one of the gears, and the mechanism is now moving. I want to say normally. Maybe it could be a bit better, but like it's hard to say like what's the true potential of the team is because of the rough start and because of the fact that Lodik only played playoffs and the last week of the regular split. I think they will still continue gaining confidence and like the performance level throughout the weeks before the MSI, but that depends on them. If they are going to try hard or if they're going to like relax a bit. I feel like there is no time to relax for them.
So their spring split was rough, more rough than people would have expected, and that is, as I hear you say, probably mostly due to that communication. Now, obviously, at the international stage, something like communication is incredibly important. But what specifically changed then for them in the playoffs to turn the ship around? Because I saw people on Twitter say as well, who follow the LCL closely, it's probably going to be tough for Unicorns of Love. And now they win it, when in the spring split, as you said, the regular split, it actually only seemed to become worse, their communication. So what is the state of that communication now? And how do you see this going into MSI for them?
I feel like the Unicorns of Love is one of the few teams in Russian League that actually has a good boot camp. And since Lodik joined the team, every member of the team is on boot camp. Our league is on online mode, so not everyone is playing from boot camps. Some people are just playing from their homes. And especially it goes to foreign players because like Gambit has a foreign player. I don't know, like OBG, the other team from the top four, had foreign players, and it's impossible to put them in one apartment or building. And I feel like that helps, especially when it comes to solving communication issues, when you could just gather up all together after the game, watch it together, discuss what went wrong, what should have been done, what should have been said. And I feel like Unicorns of Love got a bit lucky because the first semifinals against Gambit could have been much, much worse, because that was the moment when Unicorns of Love just started gradually like going up. But Gambit had a very poor performance. They didn't show up at all. Maybe it was due to something like going wrong in between the games, like before after the regular split, but before the playoffs, maybe they had a rough week in terms of scrims or something like that. And Unicorns of Love actually got even more time because they got lucky in the semis, and then they had 2 weeks to prepare for the finals. And I feel like coming into MSI, they fixed the main issue because I feel like with Frappy, there was not enough trust in the bot lane. It's a duo lane. You have to work together as like one unit with the support. And there were times when the actions that they were doing were kind of uncoordinated, and that felt weird. And then there was also the communication between other members that had to be in English. And I mean, I listened to some of their communication because we do mic checks and stuff as the casting crew, and I don't want to be bad mouthing anyone, but their English, like my English, is not good enough for me to communicate in English perfectly all the time. Their English is like one step down. So when it comes to communicating quickly, especially when it comes to like shot calling in a very like tight situations and team fights, I feel like that was holding them back. And with the communication back to Russian when everybody's comfortable, I feel like they're growing. And maybe Lorik is not in his best shape right now because he actually took a long pause before joining back the professional scene. But he's gaining quickly. He's very he was always a very reliable player, someone who doesn't need much resources to like be useful for the team. And I feel like it goes well with the style of Unicorns of Love because their main carries, the people who should build up the game by themselves, is their jungle, Ananasik, the nightmare for the English casters, and Nomans, their mid laner.
Yes. So, there is a lot obviously happening heading into MSI. I guess you could say that Unicorns of Love, in a way, maybe got lucky that GAM Esports is unfortunately missing out, so they now are in a group with 3. RNG is obviously an incredibly tough opponent. Pentanet from the LCO is just a region that basically was discontinued by Riot in their support for the league, and now many O's players have left the region, so I don't think many people are expecting a lot from them. So I would be inclined to say that it's almost expected for Unicorns of Love to make it out of that group stage.
I would say so. Yeah, there's like no excuses there. I always respected the Australian region. I mean, the Oceanic region a lot. I felt like they had good players, but with the fact that like the better player, like the best players of the region were actually moving because of the situation with the league, I feel like it got weaker. Like, I don't want to say it's weak, but it got weaker compared to what it was before. And even before that, teams from that region were like manageable for our region. Like, we had problems with Vietnam, we had problems sometimes maybe with the Turkish region. I'm not counting the major regions. Of course, every team from there is a problem. You know, there is more competition there. But usually, when it comes to like wildcard regions coming to international events, you always measure up to other wildcard regions because you want to be the best out of them to get promoted to like the second round, the main stage, and something like that. And yeah, we never like our main opponent was always the Vietnam, and I felt like when the distribution was done, we got unlucky because Vietnam was in our group. But then, well, unfortunately, Vietnam is not coming, and this is actually a very painful experience for a lot of people in the world because I mean we want to see all the teams.
Of
you
course,
know, everybody
yes.
got fed up with the COVID situation that we have to like hope and pray that the team gets there. Maybe like there will be problems with visa, and unfortunately Vietnam is not coming. But for the LCL team, for Unicorns of Love, this is definitely an easy mode to get to the second round. Basically, you need to win against the team from Australia, and as I said, it's manageable. The matchup against RNG, I mean, like RNG, they just beat up FPX with Noguri and Toynbee, so I feel like they're tough, you know, like
they're gonna be difficult, yes.
yeah. I feel like maybe just show up and try to do your best, you know, something when you're a clear underdog, you're not actually hoping like to get a win, but you want to show up and actually like send a message to the entire world that those guys, we are not afraid of those guys, even if they are like famous, you know, esports stars. Even though RNG is actually more of like a young roster, you know, I was very happy to see Gala and Crying like rise up. But anyway, I feel like Unicorns of Love are getting into second stage. I'm willing to bet on it. I'm not a betting person, but I'm willing to bet on it.
Yes.
And then the second stage is pretty much the same as the Worlds, like the main stage of Worlds, where if we're getting against like the top teams from top regions, I feel like it's gonna be hard, but I do have some hopes. For example, like the European League changed a bit, right? We don't have the G2 or Fnatic as the champions anymore.
Yeah,
It's
it will
Mad
be Mad
Lions,
Lions.
a
Yep.
younger team, and we actually had experience playing against some of their players, like. Armut or Elioya because they played in Turkey or the like the ERL, the
Yep.
European regions, right? And mostly the best teams from those regions scrim against our region. So maybe like if we get into a best of one against Mad Lions, we can get some points. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It also depends on the like current form of the team because usually like every best of one is a bit of a random factor. Like in a best of five series, a better team usually wins. In a best of one series, there is some chance for the underdog, and
Right.
maybe we'll get lucky.
So we've spoken about what a potential stumbling block for the team can be, which is the communication. If that goes wrong, if that's not smooth, then things aren't looking so good. But to round up the interview, what are the strengths of this team? Obviously, it has largely stayed the same compared to Worlds, where I distinctly remember seeing No Man's on Khazadin, which is one of my favorite highlights of Unicorns of Love at Worlds. But heading into MSI, what are the strengths of this team? What do people need to look out for in recognizing maybe specific champion picks or maybe just in general in their playstyle? What suits them?
Okay. First of all, there is something that's going to be missing because Gadget left. Before that, Unicorns of Love was very flexible in terms of their picks because Gadget is one of the few ADCs that actually enjoys playing not only ADCs. So we had mages on bot lane. If you remember the Kassadin game, it was actually due to Orianna flex. They picked Orianna early on. Somebody, I don't remember who it was actually, the opponent. I feel like they answered with a Galio, and then bam, Orianna goes to bot lane, and it's a cast in the mid lane, which is a nightmare for Galio because he outscales you after like 5 minutes in the game. But yeah, so there's not going to be that, but there are still the distinct strengths of the team coming to such an event. First of all, Nomans is still great when he gets to scale up. He has a wide champion pool, I want to say. He plays well on control mages such as Victor or Orianna. He also has his own like favorite picks such as Silas or Kassadin. I feel like Silas is exceptionally strong right now, and maybe we'll get to see a lot of him. In terms of jungle, I feel like Ananasic got the worst exchange that he could have gotten from Riot Games because right now the meta of 11.6 is all about like junglers that don't do that much. I mean, they do much, but it's not like from. I mean, it's Udyr and Hecarim and
Right.
Volibear. You're a tank. You engage. You farm up, and then you're useful. And I feel like Ananasic is more of a carry jungler playstyle with like Nidalee, Evelyn, Graves, and they don't fit. Like you can play them, but they put a certain amount of pressure on your team. If they don't do anything, Volibear just is more useful, like or Hecarim or Udyr. So I normally would say that we should look out for the carry picks in the jungle, but I don't feel like it's gonna happen that much unless there will be like 3 or 4 jungle bans. And I mean, Boss is still great on his bruisers, even though once again the meta is not actually shaping up to be more bruisers. It's more of a like Sion Cho'Gath kind of thing. But there are some opportunities to play. Like the ideal draft that I would like to see from Unicorns of Love is something with high pressure in mid lane and maybe like Renekton Nidalee in the top side of the map where the bot lane just plays safe with something that can just scale up and be relevant later on in the game. I feel like Lodik is underappreciated right now because people got used to the fact that he's mostly carrying out a utility role for the team. He's very much a capable player, like you know that mostly Russian players play on the European server, the EU West, right? The one that burns down every clash. sorry. Anyway, and he like most of the Unicorns of Love, they have a very substantial amounts of elo, like Challenger, Grandmaster, like high Grandmaster types. So I usually want to say that we're not bad when it comes to individual performance, at least not bad, and maybe there is something that we can do even more than just not bad. But right now, this is the way I see Unicorns of Love playing. I feel like the most threat comes from the mid jungle duo. What type of game they can force on their opponents, and maybe transition this to the top side. Santos is the support of the team. He is very good at roaming. His like favorite champions are like Bard, Alistar, and well, mostly we have engaged supports right now in the meta. I feel like that suits him. So I feel like we can do stuff, like if we prepare some strategies, if we actually like work on the draft and nobody's slacking, nobody's tilted, because there are always those things that are like we cannot see with the naked eye. They happen behind the doors in
Right.
the boot camps and stuff. And usually, I feel like this is the main problem of Russian teams, because we usually have enough talent. We are smart enough to actually like carry out strategies and stuff. But usually, something goes wrong behind the scenes, and nobody knows what happened. It's like the game with the flag quest in Worlds. The first game was so close. Everything was like basically it went to the coin toss in the like final team fight who wins. And the second game there was I mean, it was a stomp. It was a stomp. No chances there, and everybody was like, "Yeah, okay, Unicorns of Love, they don't deserve to be there." But I assure you that was not supposed to happen.
Right. Okay, ShortyGeorge, thank you so much for joining me and talking about Unicorns of Love. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to bring. Obviously, as a European League of Legends enjoyer and follower, I am always happy to see the pink jerseys back on the international stage. Again, thank you so much. And, well, I look forward to seeing you probably interact with MSI as well.
Thanks.